So welcome to Ennerdale. We thought I'd try our hand at wild camping this time in wild Ennerdale. Not having done it for a while and sporting some new kit, we thought we'd give it a whirl. So carry on watching if you want to see comparing normal food, steaks and so forth, to dehydrated stuff, and what it takes to stay safe, dry and comfortable in wild Ennerdale. Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. Something else I'm keen to explore on this adventure is how light can you make your pack? What do you not need to bring? Or is some home comforts, like a little teeny tiny fold-up chair when the ground's all damp and horrible, enough, maybe even essential, just to make your adventure that bit more comfortable? So a couple of k's in, we've scouted a couple of other places, and it seems like whoever's been wild camping here has chopped down some living pines, which is not the thing to do by any means. Notwithstanding the stuff won't burn, it's a desecration. There's no other word I can use to describe it for this place. Chris and I are going to use gas burners and be responsible about it, and we can see here lots of litter left. So something else we could potentially do while we're here is give it a bloody good tidy up. What do you think, Chris? Here or move on?
Yeah, here's good.
Here's good enough. Okay. Well, that's a bit better. Got rid of the stones, got rid of the fire pit. 3 boxes of firewood, lots of booze. We've folded up all the packs of rubbish, brushed around as best we can, and spread the firewood through the forest so it'll get wet. It won't tempt anybody to use it. It's a bit of a shame because you can see here pine's torn off, and that message is repeated again through the forest. You can see all the bare stumps, so obviously people don't know about anything because you can't burn living wood like that. So anyway, time to pitch. Come here to get away from the stupidity of the 21st century, and it seems a shame that we're reminded straight away of how people can be arseholes. So it doesn't take long, there we are. We've had a tidy up, pitch the tents, the tea is on, and after tidying up everybody else's rubbish, I think we can say this is going to be a pretty cosy plate for the night. So nice views of the fells. We haven't gained any height, we're not interested today. All we want to do is enjoy a little bit of peace and quiet. Got a bit of overhang over the river, but I think that's all part of the fun. So fall asleep to the sound of the gurgling river. Absolutely wonderful. So we'll give that a few minutes. Chris has sliced the buns. We've got, so like I say, comparing it to adventure food, these are getting on for £10 a time. Okay, yeah, they're light. You fill it with water, minced beef hot pot. Sometimes I use the fire pot meal. However, light fills a hole, not your soul. So we're going to go with a bit of steak and see how that works out. Got a bit of habanero sauce. And when you think I've got 4 of these for £16, no fat, trimmed by a butcher, no bone, ready just to eat, I think it's actually worth the extra weight to carry it in your pack to come somewhere like this, excuse fingers, and actually enjoy something. If you're going to enjoy the scenery like it is, why not eat well as enjoy yourself? Smash it. Awesome. And we'll tell you how it tastes in a little bit. Well, there we go. Garlic, salt and a bit of habanero sauce. Sirloin steak from Collie's the Butchers in Swaddling Coat. Infinitely preferable to one of these dry meals. Anyway, bon appetit. That really makes it fantastic. Okay, so as the sun sets slowly in the west, I think it's time for bed. We've had all the steak we can have, we've had a nice can of beer, and even though I'm probably going to be right for a bit of a tinkle, I think it's time to retire. So the sun's going down in about 15 minutes, and obviously, even with a head torch, you don't want to be out in the dark, particularly on the side of a river. So, fall asleep to the sound of the gurgling river. Good night, see you tomorrow. So there we go, leave no trace. And while Chris gets sausages on, I've made a cup of tea. So always a bin liner, take your rubbish with you, and if you're that bothered about it, you can take turns in carrying it, but you can't be dumping your stuff in the forest. How's that, Chris? Any good? Awesome. There we go. Wall's porky sausages for breakfast, and we're going to set off up the valley this way. So something else we've found out recently while we've been here is the Forestry Commission's plans to chop down all the pines because they're not native. There's Sitka spruce, Japanese larch, you name it, it's here. Scots pine, and the original valley's biodiversity was only deciduous. So that's the plan. They're already felling them across the valley, and on weekdays you can hear the chainsaws going. And the plan is 50 to 100 years there'll be a fantastic mix of deciduous forest. As you can see, some of them here with the moss growing up the trunk, silver birch there, and some other hardier, more native species. Because obviously as we're pottering along, you look underneath, like over here behind Chris, you look over here to the under the canopy of the forest, and it is all just dark, dead, pine needle strewn nothingness with a canopy for everything fighting for a spot of light. So no flowers, no beetles, not off the way of birds. We can hear one here, but we've got some deciduous in here. We've seen some deer, but obviously this is not natural, and having a dark, brooding, creepy forest, it just isn't the way they want to go here in Ennerdale. So I won't be here to see it, but it's going to be interesting to see the changes coming to the valley this year while we're here. awesome, Chris. Wonderful place. And we're going to see just in the hazy distance if we can pitch just on the shoulder of Scarth Gap Pass. And you can see here between the forest path and River Lisa, with Pillar just sulking in the clouds, you can see the start of deciduous rebirth here in the valley. And that looks like it's going to run all the way up. So out with the old, the huge straight soulless pines, and in with the new lovely deciduous natural forest. So rather continuing on to Blacksail, we can take a wee shortcut here marked AW for Alfred Wainwright. So like I say, rather than go along like a big L shape, under the watchful gaze of the back of Pillar here, we can take a wee shortcut. So the pace will drop, but the distance will also shorten, and even though it's not going to be super on the old knees, it'll get us where we want to go. So Scarth Gap, here we come. Here we are, whatever you want to call it. Wild Ennerdale view, Ennerdale Crag. There's just enough room for 2 small tents to pitch, and in the morning we can have views like this, the whole length of the valley. Grey Gable first thing for breakfast. We have a water supply just behind us here, and that is Scarth Gap Pass. So fantastic, we've come a long way. The original plan was to come from Gatescarth Farm up to Scarth Gap and then plop here. Yeah, we've made some different changes, but I think you'll agree we'll get unpacking, and this is going to be absolutely epic. Grey Gable, Green Gable, the rest of the southern Ennerdale Fells, Pillar here, and wherever you look, billions of trees in the River Lisa. Let's get unpacked and get a cup of tea on. Fantastic. There we go. Pretty much. That's all there is to it. So there we have it, properly anchored down, nice and flat, not on any kind of slope. My morning view with a cup of tea will be this. Well, that was a bit of an extended emergency shelter there from quite a storm. So yeah, a couple of hours or heads down in the tents, but now, well, you can see the weather over Great Gable still isn't going to improve much, but the clarity, after all that rain's fallen, we can see right down the valley. And even though it isn't going to be the Instagram style dusk we hoped for, I think you'll agree that's not a bad backdrop to cook your tea with. Fantastic. Looks like everyone's gone off the fowls and it's now, gosh, gone 6 p.m. Still very, very cold for this time of year. So I think another layer of Gore-Tex back on and let's get the burner back on. Wakey wakey, Chris. Right, so it's time to check comparatively, and I know it's horses for courses, how awesome this is going to be in comparison with steak. So Venture Food minced beef hot pot. Take out the oxygen cylinder, pack it, whatever it is, fill to the line. Okay, fill it to the line. Okay, still bubbling. Stir it. Oh dear me, that is like a sludge. Doesn't look the most appetising at the moment. The first bite being with the eye. So it's got to wait for 10 minutes, and in this environment it's going to go cold. So here's something I prepared earlier from Ultralight Gear. Bung it in there. It should keep the packet should keep it a bit warmer. Stop it going quite so cold. I'll see you in 10 minutes. So Chris, by comparison, is having an all-day breakfast. So it's heavy because it's already full of water, but I don't think Chris will really feel the benefit of his Spanish grains and pieces of chorizo. So yeah, downside of those, weighty, but the upsides that they're ready to go, but a good £10 each. Don't think it beats a steak. So Chris is going to heat that on his Trangia and we'll see how that goes. What do you think, Chris?
I'm not sure.
Okay, 10 minutes later. Oh. Still warm. That's going to need a bit more water, I'd say. Or is it? It's okay. Oh. I think what I'll do is I'll leave it for a bit. I'll put a bit more water in it when I make a cup of tea. But I think even with that, it's not going to be a patch on the steaks. So, dried food, ready wet food when you're camping, which? It depends how far you're going, what you're prepared to carry, and what you want to eat. For example, Chris and I have only walked, what, 3 or 4 miles from getting dropped off. So carrying a couple of steaks to eat on the first night is a good idea. Carried a pack of 8 sausages, 4 last night, we're going to have 4 for breakfast. That works out when we share it. So sausages and buns for one, steaks and buns for the other. There's a backup having a... No. I'm going to find other ways around it, other things. It's even going to be cheaper and nicer to bring a tin of big soup, eat it, and then just crush the tin, put it in the bin bag, which you should bring with you, and then you take it home. So, camping meals, obviously it's a thumbs down. They're all a thumbs down. Some more thumbs down than others. Right, cup of tea time. Fantastic, so I'm glad that meal's out of the way, but one thing I'm not glad is out of the way is this rather epic God Ray move here. Now, it's probably washed out a bit because I can't turn my ISO down because the sky's very bright with the setting sun, but it's just as the shadow creeps along the valley there, just casting some of these pines into stark relief. I think there's a bit of blue sky over there. We might see a bit of a lovely weather tomorrow, so nice to end on a high, because all we had earlier was high rainfall, so fantastic. Thank you, Ennerdale. Thank you, Cumbria. Thank you, Chris. Good morning. Well, I'm having a slow walk back to the car now, and I think you'll agree as a backdrop this is a tough one to beat. Chris likes to lie in, so he's gonna get up in his own time. I've been awake quite a bit in the night because the wind was very, very strong. In fact, it was so strong it was bending the spine of the tent back in to touch me in the night. It's afforded me the chance to, at the end of a bit of an adventure here, to have that time on my own, which is why I came. I asked Chris to come along. It's good company. Just before I go back to work tomorrow. Just that cleansing effect of solitude in nature, and I think you'll agree, if you're going to be on your own, this is probably one of the places to be. So, as the adventure comes to a close, what have I learned? I still need to fine tune my kit. I can do away with some things. Some kind of specialist microfiber fleece liner for my sleeping bag will probably be in order, as will some kind of small waterproof bag for GoPro stuff, batteries, your phone, that kind of thing. And also, if it's only going to be a couple of nights, I think it's time to do away with those specialist, expensive, and gotta say, rather unpalatable dehydrated meals, with the exception of maybe I'll try another fire pot one, because I've had those before and I really enjoyed it. It made in a different way. There'll be a link at the bottom to the one I mean. So, gentle jaunt back to the car. Chris is probably 20 minutes behind me. Just opportunity while my pace is much slower than his, just to, as Depeche Mode say, enjoy the silence.